April 11th, 2023, 6 p.m. meeting of the Gun Barrel City Economic Development Corporation. This time I will establish the quorum from my left, please.
Weller here.
Jones here.
Key here.
Johannes here.
Kroll here.
Bond here.
Okay, quorum is established. Would you please stand for a moment of silence and the Pledge of Allegiance? Salute pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. At this time, we will open up citizens' comments. Citizens' comments are limited to 3 minutes, and no action will be taken. At this time, I will just go in the order that I believe I received these forms. So, David Skanes. Please state your name and your full address, please.
Thank you, Madam President. My name is David Skanes. I'm the mayor of Gun Barrel City. I live at 148 Robin Hood Way. I just wanted to come in and thank the EDC once again for the hard work that you do. I was looking over some financials earlier in the week, and in the last 5 years, we have increased the bottom line revenue to the city about 28%. So that's a very big win for the EDC and for what y'all have done. A lot of people don't understand that EDC does more than just help businesses. They advertise our city, and people come in and, excuse me, I'm sorry, did I interrupt you? They come into our city and they spend money here, and that's where we make our revenue from, is all those folks that come in and spend money. Pier 334 is an outstanding project. A lot of false information being floated around. That's very unfortunate, but know full well that Mr. Haynes would have been here tonight if he could have been, had a family emergency, I understand. So he ended up staying in Florida. But so I will table the item tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock so that we can have that. Hopefully he can be here on the 18th to answer any questions that might come up at that point in time before we vote on that item. I had put it on the agenda for tomorrow so that we could capitalize on him being here to answer any questions, both in that meeting as well as your meeting tonight. But we'll postpone that for a little bit. Again, I just want to thank y'all for all you do. I appreciate your volunteerism, and keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Next, I have James Henderson. Mr. Henderson, if you'll come to the podium, please, sir. State your name and address for the record, and then you'll have 3 minutes as well.
Thank you. My name is James Henderson. I live in 106 Little John. I just came up here tonight I moved here 12, 14 years ago, and we didn't have a public boat ramp. I'm standing here tonight, and we still don't have one. I see that's not good for our city. Y'all own 10 or 12 miles of shoreline in Gun Barrel City, and somehow or other, in 50 years, 53 or 4 years of being a city, we didn't put in a public boat ramp to bring people to your city, to bring in money. I see something wrong with that. And another thing is, 3 or 4 months ago, I was looking out my back window, and I noticed a fire truck had my POA boat ramp gate blocked. I drove over to my POA, got out of my truck, walked down to the water, and there was a big old red 3/4 ton, 1 ton Ford truck with Gun Barrel Fire Department on it, and they were launching a brand new big old boat. And the mayor happened to be there, parked, sitting in his truck, and I said, "What's going on?" He said, "Well, this is the only boat ramp we've got to put in right now. None of the ones here in the city are usable. Eastwood Isle, Willowwood, Arbolado. You couldn't use Big Chief. You couldn't use the Parrot Head place out at Tom Finley Park. All the ramps were bad. But it just so happens, Sherwood Shores POA, we've kept our dock up through the years. And you can use our dock. And the mayor loaned them a key, or let them in, to launch that boat. And they were out riding around on the lake. Said it was an emergency. Well, where are they going to go when he moves and say he don't give them a key to get in if they need to get on the water? We need a public boat ramp in this city. I'm sorry to be up here griping, folks, but we need one. I told you that a year or two ago. Y'all sold it out down here. Y'all could have made that a nice, big public boat ramp, and we'd have had a good boat ramp and bring people into this lake to fish and spend money. But we're working on a project down here I don't see ever working. Sorry, thank you.
Thank you for your time, Mr. Henderson.
Mr. President, could I just manage a couple of minutes of my time?
You had about a minute left.
I've had enough of you, James. All you do is complain. Let me clarify what Mr. Henderson said and what was going on that day. I received a phone call from the fire chief. He asked me if they could launch if I thought he could launch his boat, the fire boat, for a rescue at our boat ramp. I did not tell Mr. Henderson all the other ramps were bad. I said the Big Chief ramp was bad. It's got a drop off in it and they can't get the boat out in that ramp. And I know that Tom Finley, both of those ramps were bad because the water was low. And I also told him they were wanting to launch the boat because they needed to go out on a rescue of a 13-year-old boy. I'm sorry that inconvenienced you, James, that they had to go rescue a 13-year-old boy. I am so disappointed that you think that's just something that's not right. Well, you can ask the fire chief. But, so anyway, I just want to clarify what went on. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, I have Lana Ahrens. I'm sorry, how do you say your last name? I'm sure I didn't get it right. Ahrens, it is Ahrens. Okay, Lana, if you will give your name and address for the record, and your time will start now.
Lana Ahrens, 334 Schooner Road, Gun Barrel City, Texas, 75156. I want to ask, why are we having this public meeting after you already voted to fund this? This project has been funded by the EDC for almost 2 years. Has there ever been a public hearing? Are we violating Texas Local Government Code 505.159? Is there a pro forma? If so, where is it? How is the project going to make money? Does this developer have experience building and managing hotels? I looked on his website, they all look residential to me. In the last meeting, y'all were talking about the chef and tapestries, but as far as we can see, site plans have not been approved. I spoke with TRWD this afternoon. They said that nothing's been filed with them. Do you have TxDOT approval? Has this been to P&Z? Have plans been approved by council? Do we have a feasibility study on record? So far, the EDC has provided the land and taken out a $500,000 loan at 3.71% interest. Why did the EDC take out this loan on August 27th, 2021? And now we're giving away the same sum of money, $500,000 at 2%. Why? This project was supposed to take no more than 24 months, according to the original agreement. We're almost at that point now. Who are the investors? Who is the lender willing to give more than $25 million to this project? What is the money needed for? The language in the resolution says that the money is used for construction on the hotel. How is $500,000 even a drop in the bucket? The public has seen no proof that anyone else has spent any money other than the EDC. If we've already met the $2 million, why are we continuing to give out more money? Where's the qualified expenses report? The one we have access to says total project cost, $12,873,361. That was on July 29th, 21, and June 15th, 22. Now the loan agreement says it's a minimum of $25 million in section 4A. The costs were stagnant for a year, and now they've more than doubled. Does this change our obligation for the $2 million? I'd like you to reconsider this until some of the citizens' questions have been answered. Thank you.
Thank you. This time, Gary Damiano. Gary? Your name and address for the record, please, sir.
I'm sorry?
Your name and address for the record.
Yeah, I generally do that. My name is Gary Damiano. I live at 335 Autumnwood Trail, Gun Barrel City, Texas, and have for 11 years. I have been on the EDC. I have been on the Planning and Zoning. I have been on the Board of Adjustments. A couple of questions. I was under the impression, I did not know we had a 3-minute time limit here. I thought it was for questions and answers for transparency purposes and for people to understand exactly what was going on with this project. But I'll start here. I have a vision problem, so I'm going to use a magnifying glass and glasses. At this point, the project is unfunded, and what Lana said is, my question is, why are we throwing another $500,000 at a project that is yet unfunded to the tune of $24, $25, $26 million? It makes no sense whatsoever. The other question, is there anybody who's going to answer questions, or can I just throw them out?
Just throw them out.
Pardon?
Just throw the questions out.
I can't hear you, Diana.
Just throw the questions out.
Okay, so how do I get answers to them if I just throw them out? One of the things I noticed on the loan agreement, that the name on the loan agreement does not correspond to the president of YNS Services. I understand that the name on the agreement, Yvonne, is the architect who was paid for her services to design the building, the potential building. I understand that she is also the wife of Jay, the owner of YNS. That puts flags up to me. There's no shot at her credibility. She may be excellent, but I don't get it, to be honest with you. The other thing, in an open records request, I have asked for the articles of incorporation for the LLC and the LP. My understanding is that on the LLC, when the LLC was transferred to an LP, the Gun Barrel City Economic Development Corporation knew nothing about it. They found out after the fact. And I'm trying to figure out why. I'm trying to figure out, in asking for the articles of incorporation, I kind of like to know who the players are on both of those. There is another name on that document for the change, and I don't know who they are. Capital Services Incorporated. I don't know how they fit into this. As far as I'm concerned or understand, is that the EDC and YNS Services are partners in the Pier 334 project. So this other Capital Services doesn't make sense. Are they part of the partnership or the LP? I don't know. I have asked for, like I said, I've asked for the articles of incorporation to see who the players are, and Robin and I have talked, and she has been great. But nobody has them. That's a problem. If you don't know, are you still a partner in this thing? Even though one document, according to the attorney, transfers? What's going on? Okay, guys? The funding, what Lana said, the funding of this is not in place. If it's $24 to $25 million, who's paying that bill? Where are the investors? Are there investors? How secure is the funding before we throw another $500,000 at it? They're just reasonable questions, which, quite frankly, I think it's a great potential project. My problem is there's an awful lot of questions out there. And if I were on the EDC, quite frankly, I'd be asking them. And you guys should be too. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Richard Yaws, if you'll come and state your name and address, please.
Good afternoon or good evening. My name is Richard Yaws. I live at 108 Joy Lane. I've been in Gun Barrel City for coming up on 28 years, and appreciate, again, as the mayor said, all the work that y'all do, the people that actually step up to volunteer. You get my praise every time I speak in public because it's owed and you've earned it, and for that I say thank you. I read recently in your previous meeting y'all's approval of the additional or the loan, rather, not the additional, but the loan for YNS, as y'all have approved it through your board. I did actually expect to hear from Mr. Haynes today because I did have some questions that I would like to hear from, but I'll remain confident and I'll remain open-minded and present to hear the answers to those questions. And I I want to keep this positive, but I would also like to say for the record that I also appreciate anyone who has any curiosity that they seek out the proper source and get the answers to those questions, because as of yet, I've not been able to not get an answer to a question when I've asked the right person, and it really wasn't a big mystery how to get to those right people. You just got to ask, including our EDC director and, of course, the board up here as well. Mr. Haynes has also been quite available for any questions in the past, and I see no reason to doubt that he will be in this instance as well. So again, thank you for your volunteering and for all that you do, and I'll yield back the time for the meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Yaz. That is all the request I have, so at this time, I will close citizens' comments, and we will go to our agenda items. Item number 1 is discuss take action to approve the March 14th, 2023 EDC meeting minutes. Do I have a motion?
I move that we take action to approve the March 14th, 2023 EDC meeting minutes as presented.
I have a motion by Mr. Key. Do I have a second?
Kroll, second.
I have a second by Mr. Kroll. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote from my left, please.
Weller, yes.
Jones, yes.
Key, yes.
Johannes, yes.
Kroll, yes.
Bond, yes.
Motion carries. Item number 3 is discuss take action to approve the March 2023 EDC financials. And Robin, those are not ready from our CPA at this time, correct? Okay.
Our bank statements just got in yesterday, so it was just late.
Okay, all right. So at this time, we won't be taking any action or discussing those since we do not have them. Item number 4, discuss.
We need a motion to.
Oh, we need a motion to table. Yes, we're correct.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we table the March 2023 EDC financials until we get them back from our CPA for verification.
Okay, motion to table by Mr. Bond. Do I have a second?
Jones, second.
I have a second by Ms. Jones. Do I have any further discussion or questions regarding this? Hearing none, we will vote for my left, please.
Weller, yes. Jones, yes.
Key, yes.
Johannes, yes.
Kroll, yes.
Bond, yes.
Okay, motion to carry, to table passes. Moving to item number 4, discuss take action to approve a sponsorship for Thunder over Cedar Creek Lake Air Show in the amount of $5,000. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion that we discuss take action to approve a sponsorship for the Thunder over Cedar Creek Lake Air Show in the amount of $5,000.
Okay, I have a motion for Mr. Bond. Do I have a second?
Kroll, second.
Second for Mr. Kroll. This time, open the floor for discussion or questions.
I've got a question.
Mr. Bond?
I think funding, been coming down here since '86, seen many of the Thunder over Cedar Creek. It's a great show. The people that it benefits is what's truly at heart here. I believe 100% of the money goes to the veterans. What I would like to see is the EDC go ahead and sponsor this, but remove the VIP air show seats, the VIP parking spots. Take it and just give them the money without taking anything. They're going to be giving us radio spots. They're going to have a sign out there with our name on it, kind of like they do at the lawnmower races. I think those tables that table and the VIP parking could be used elsewhere for the funding of it, whether it's private citizens or something else. I don't like us getting something that we're sponsoring. That's my personal opinion.
I would add to that if we're that passionate for that, and I would agree with that we would go one step further and accept those things, but make those available to the veterans. Make those parking spots, make those things available to veterans, and how we come up with that group of people, but then go ahead and use what we have to actually benefit those people.
Yeah, as long if they go to the veterans, I'd be more than happy to back that.
That would be the motion that I would make, is that we would, keep what we're entitled to, but we would reserve the right to go ahead and donate that to veterans, and however that works here in the city.
Robin, is this just part of what the $5,000 sponsorship gives. It's
Yes,
not
this is the
something
things
we've
that you get for
requested
your
any of this.
sponsorship, but you can obviously donate that back to,
Yeah.
and they're very familiar with local veterans groups, so that would be a great gift to give back to the community.
Okay, further discussion from you guys on the side? Any other questions?
Do we need to amend the
Yes.
motion?
Yes, so Mr. Bond, I believe you made the motion, so you would need to amend that just to mention the fact that we're going to gift those VIP things.
Let me get to that part. Okay.
Okay,
I make a motion that we approve a sponsorship for Thunder over Cedar Creek Lake Air Show in the amount of $5,000 and donate the VIP air show seats and the VIP parking passes to local veterans so that they may enjoy the show.
okay, we have a motion for Mr. Bond that's been amended. Do I have a second?
Kroll, second.
Mr. Kroll, second. Any further discussion? We will vote from my left, please.
Willer, yes?
Jones, yes.
Key, yes.
Johannes, yes.
Kroll, yes.
Bond, yes.
Okay. All right, at this time, we will open the public hearing. The public hearing allows citizens the opportunity to address the EDC Board of Directors on the specific item for which the public hearing is opened. No other issue can be addressed, and the presiding officer will withdraw recognition of the speaker. Any person desiring to speak must fill out the comment form prior to the gaveling or order of the meeting. Individual citizens' comments are limited to 3 minutes and are not transferable to another citizen. Any person desiring to speak must come to the podium and be recognized by the presiding officer. City staff will be referred to as staff and not by name, title, or position, and no disparaging marks will be made. This time, we will open the public hearing for Trout's Appliance Grants. Public notice was posted outside the EDC office on Thursday, April 9th, 2023, as well as published in the Monitor newspaper. R-2023-003 is a 50% matching grant of $25,000 to Trout's Appliance for suite number 824 and suite number 830. They are planning to spend over $50,000 on facade improvements, including replacing all doors and windows and installing new LED track lighting across the front of the building. R-2023-004 is a 50% matching grant of $25,000 to Trout's Appliance for Suite 834. They are planning to spend over $50,000 to repair, seal, and restripe their parking lot, remove and reinstall their signage on a new wall, and clean and repaint the front and sides of the building. These three businesses employ a total of 22 employees at Trout's Appliance, Textan, and Metro by T-Mobile. This time, the public hearing is now open. Anyone here to address this? I didn't get anything. Okay. Yes. Okay. Well, then at this time, the public hearing is closed. Public hearing for a $500,000 loan to YNS Services. Public notice was posted outside the EDC office on Thursday, April the 9th, 2023, as well as published in the Monitor newspaper. R-2023-005 is a $500,000 loan to YNS Services, the developer for the Pier 334 project. It is a low-interest loan to offset the rise of interest rates over the last year. Feasibility studies and formal business plans indicate this is the perfect location for this project, which will include a Hilton Tapestry Hotel, a retail restaurant pavilion, boat docks for access from the waterfront, and public green spaces. This will bring more than 60 meaningful jobs while providing a wonderful gateway to our city. The public hearing is now open.
My intention was to speak on that when I spoke earlier. Do I need to repeat what I said, or is it all part of the meeting and it's fine?
It's all part of the meeting. It's fine.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I've got a question, Robin. Since Mr. Haynes, as the mayor said, Mr. Haynes can't be here to answer the questions that a lot of people might have.
Okay, he's here, he's on speakerphone right now, and he can hear us now.
Okay, so he now can hear us.
Now he can, yes.
Okay, because if he wasn't able to, I was going to wait till he could be here.
Okay. He's had a medical emergency and couldn't be here today, but he will be here on the 18th for city council meeting.
And he is here on the video.
He is on the
audio
phone
call
right now.
Mr. Bond, if you have any questions or
Okay, I
there's
just,
questions.
I didn't know if it could be moved, if we need a table till he could actually be here to answer the questions. That was my question.
This is just a public hearing, so there is nothing to table.
Okay.
Yeah. There's no action. There's no action in this meeting. It's just that for information purposes.
It's up to the president.
Sure. You have 3 minutes, just like in the citizens' comments.
Mr. Haynes, do you have a pro forma?
Thank you very much. It's a little difficult to hear. First, Mayor, City Council members, EDC members, board members, I apologize for not being there in person. I have a very ill father, and it was not appropriate for me to leave my mother or my father at this time to come back. I appreciate very much all the support that the city has given us on this project. I appreciate the offer of a loan to help us reduce some of the borrowing costs that the higher interest rates have forced upon us in the last 8 or 9 months. The offer by the city was a great comfort to our senior lenders, and we by offering the loan and additionally putting up an additional $1.5 million of equity in the project, we were able to allow the term sheets to be rolled forward with the interest rates that had gone from 4.5% to 9.5%. So our borrowing costs, they got a little bit more expensive, but easily managed by the project once opened, which is good news. We had HVS come and do an additional feasibility study and appraisal under the new rates to make sure that everything penciled. And the good news is that while the interest rates have gone up, the revenues projected based on growth in the area and inflation significantly outpaced the interest rate gains. So over time, the project should do a little bit better than we originally thought. It's just the first 1.5 or 2 years with all the construction going on and no revenue coming in. It was a little bit difficult. So this loan makes everything work much better for the banking institutions. We are prepared to go forward. I think the last comments we have with our engineers and the city's engineers were presented yesterday, and we've not seen any comments back from Mundo Engineering, so we assume that they are in the process of writing it up and getting it to the city council for final approval for the site plan and the buildings and roads and fire and water and water mitigation and water and sewer upgrades. So at this point, we're kind of excited to move forward. I apologize, I can't be there in person. I would have liked to. I will be there next week. And if there are any specific questions I might be able to answer, I'm happy to do so.
Do you have any development experience in building or managing hotels?
Robin, can you repeat that to me? Because it's really hard to hear.
Building and managing hotels.
We have YNS Services has got extensive experience in building hotel properties, multifamily housing, single-family housing, town centers, workforce housing. So on the construction side, yes. On the operational side and management side, we do not, which is why we've hired Purpose Lodging, which is a Hilton-approved management company, which will be doing all of the hiring and managing of the property.
Can you ask if he personally has experience building hotels? He can't hear me. Can you ask him if he personally, not YNS, but himself?
I think YNS is.
Yes.
Can you tell us which one?
Sure. Crown Point Hotel in New Mexico, the Turtle Mountain Band Hotel in North Dakota. It's an embassy. I guess it's called more of a man camp than a hotel in Minot, South Dakota. It was called Rough Rider Workforce Housing. Those are our projects that we've built that are considered hotels.
Do you have TxDOT approval for this project?
Our TxDOT meetings have been held, and the application is sitting in Mr. Mundo's hands. Only the city can apply for TxDOT approval. So as soon as the city applies for it, we believe from the meetings we've had with them, the 3 or 4, that we will be approved for the project.
Have you contacted TRWD for approval?
Yes.
I spoke to them today, and they said that that is not factual. Has this been through planning? No, that's for you. We have a feasibility study on record? Okay. What exactly is the $500,000 to be used for? Why is it taking more than 24 months? Can he answer that, please?
Yeah, construction should be somewhere between 15 and 18 months actually building it. And then there'll be time, FF&E, to finish out all of the rooms and to train everybody, which is another couple of months. And then the planning stage has taken longer than expected with the city because of the engineering concerns that the city engineer had, securing all of the land and making sure the citizens of Gun Barrel City were comfortable with the project.
Who are the investors that are going to give the $25 million?
Miss Aaron, you have about
There are
30 seconds
3
left.
investors, Eve Hopen, Darren Dittrich, and Tom Grosjean are the equity investors, along with the city, which owns 16.75% of the project.
What's the total that they've given? Of investors other than us?
There's a requirement under the current term sheets for $8 million of equity in the project.
And the cost doubled in less than a year. Can you tell me why it went from 12 million to 25? That is the number in the original presentation on 7/29/21, but it's also in 6/15/22 as well.
That'll be your final question. You're welcome.
The cost double?
Correct. In the expense report?
Unclear, sorry.
Correct. Okay.
More than doubled because originally our plans had to be altered by in order to comply with all of the requests from the neighbors on Jeffrey Circle, additional requests from the city engineer and East Cedar Creek Water District that wants us to replumb most of the area, and TxDOT building new roads.
Thank you.
Originally, we thought we could just put a very nice small boutique hotel on the property, build a nice pavilion for food service and a little park. And then once the project started, everybody wanted something, and the something doubled the price.
Okay, thank you. Okay. At this time,
Robin, I've got another question. Is this the first reading? Or, not first reading, the first public hearing on this project?
yes.
Okay. And I'm just going on procedural. Should we not have had this hearing prior to last month's meeting when we approved the loan? This is a procedural question. And I'm not saying that I'm not for the loan still. Are we just correcting ourselves so that we
No.
meet the requirement?
No, so the EDC has to decide to have a project
Okay.
before we invest in publishing it and having agreements drawn up by an attorney. The EDC as a board has to decide they would like to make it a project. That's the first step.
Okay.
So that's what we did. Then we published it. The city council had a first reading. It's required that you have a public hearing. It can be here or it can be during a council meeting.
Okay. I just read 505.159 that required that we have it before any money is
That's correct.
spent. So
And the
since he
published-
doesn't get the money till June 11th or June 10th, then we are within,
Right,
okay. I
That's
just want to
correct.
make sure our i's are dotted and our t's are crossed.
absolutely.
Okay, so that will end the citizens' comment. Oh, sorry. Mr. Yaws?
Am I still able to speak to Mr. Haynes? And if you want to just pass the message and he can and give it all out. Mr. Haynes, this is Richard Yaws from the City Council. There's been just an extraordinary amount of information that's been put out by what I would only describe as would-be experts and people who have an opinion about what's happening with the project. I think it would be of tremendous benefit if at the soonest possible time, and I do understand there's a schedule being put together for this, if you might be available for public comments regarding this in the near future for some Q&A. Do you feel like that's something that can be done anytime in the very near future, where you could be here in person to help address some of these questions?
He's going to be at the city council meeting.
I'll be there next week for the city council meeting. I could be there earlier for a Q&A if they wanted one.
Thank you, Mr. Haynes. I think that would be very beneficial.
Okay.
Okay. Gary? Gary, yeah. Mhm. And again, state your name and address for the record, just because I have to ask that every time, even though you know.
Yeah, my name is Gary Damiano, 335 Autumnwood Trail, Gun Barrel City, Texas. Mr. Haynes, my name is Gary Damiano. Just a couple of quick questions. I've had some other questions, but I'm going to let it ride for right now. Could you tell me who Capital Services Incorporated is?
Services.
No, I saw that, but who are they?
That's who Capital Investment Services is?
I don't know who CIS is off the top of my
Capital
head.
Services a part of the LP?
Is Capital Services a part of the LP?
I don't believe so.
There's a letter in the filing documents that says payment of the filing fee is acknowledged by this letter, and it's from Capital Services, Office of the Secretary of State.
No, that's just an agent that receives the applications and they are, either publish or provide to the state your application to become an LP.
Okay, one last question. Who are
You can look it up.
the partners in the LP as stated on the Articles of Incorporation?
YNS through Eve Hopin, Darren Dietrich, and Tom Grosjean Sr.
The EDC is not on there? Did you say that? I didn't. Could you repeat that?
He's asking if the EDC is on that, and I believe the answer is no.
The EDC is not allowed to be a participant. They can own a profit participation. We offered them ownership, and the city attorney said that they were not allowed to actually own the project.
But the project is called Pier 334, correct? Yes, the project is called Pier 334. Okay. So what does the EDC have 16% of? Pardon? The EDC is a 16% partner in what?
Asking what is the EDC a partner in?
The EDC is a partner in the private-public partnership documents, whereby the EDC gets 16.7% of the net income of the project for 25 years. So they're a partnership. They're a partner in a contract between Pier 334 and the EDC.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Gary. Okay, hearing no one else, Robin, did you have something that you wanted to, I mean, this is citizens'
I would just like to
comments.
add that the partners in the project developer has committed to purchasing as many of the supplies locally as they possibly can, which will also be a huge benefit of this project.
Yeah, so we'll be working with Lowe's and other providers. Okay, seeing no more citizens at this time, we'll go ahead and close the public forum and the public hearing. Okay? Okay, at this time, we will be adjourning to executive session, deliberations regarding economic development negotiations, section 551-087. Please let the record show that it is 6:41 that we will be adjourning. Okay, at this time, we will call the, Lord help me, the April 11th, Tuesday, April 11th, 2023, meeting of the Gun Barrel City Economic Development Council back to order, and let the record show that it is 7:08. Item 10A is to discuss, take action to approve a road easement on EDC-owned property. Do I have a motion?
I move that we approve a easement for a road on the southern edge of the EDC property that abuts the city property.
Next to the city park.
Yes, next to City Park.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Key. Do I have a second?
A second.
I have a second by Ms. Weller. Do I have any further discussion or questions? For clarification, this is to approve the road easement at the southernmost edge of the EDC-owned property next to the city park. Okay, hearing no further discussion, I will call for the vote from my left, please.
Weller, yes. Jones, yes.
Key, yes.
Johannes, yes.
Bond, yes.
Motion carries. Okay, item 10B, discuss, take action to approve a loan of $100,000 to a local business. Do I have a motion?
I move that we take action to approve a loan in the amount of $100,000 to the local business called Dreamy Dogs.
I have a motion by Mr. Key. Do I have a second?
Jones, second.
Second by Ms. Jones. Discussion or questions? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote from my left, please.
Weller, yes. Jones, yes.
Key, yes.
Johannes, yes.
Bond, yes.
Motion carries. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Motion by Mr. Bond.